It's an open World Cup, which is really very good for the competition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's we did speak about this, and a lot of people have been speaking about this. It's the first time in the last two World Cups, certainly, where New Zealand are not a favourite. 2011, take it back then, it was New Zealand's World Cup to lose. In New Zealand, we're the number one team. 2015, again, the number one team, form, everything. It was our World Cup to lose. And we managed to win both of them, which is fantastic. This year, completely thrown open. New Zealand's form in the championship.
Because they came not second, but third in the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, no, I know, exactly. Normally would come second. So we hadn't won the championship in 2015 or 2011. So, we're not too worried about that. We want to peak at the right time. But there were just some, like the Australia game, to lose by almost 50 points, defensive lapse. It's just our defence hasn't been as strong as what New Zealand normally holds and normally sort of plays its style around, because it's very defensive, and then backs up with the attacking flair. So South Africa have improved a hell of a lot. Australia obviously bit us in the bum in Perth. But then, you've got the Northern Hemisphere sitting there just rubbing their hands together, because you've got England peaking at the right time. Wales had a fantastic warm-up. And then Ireland, now the number one team in the world. So
it's all open, isn't it?
It's so open.
What about conditions? It's going to be very hot in Japan. Is that going to have an influence?
Yeah, for sure. The humidity and the heat and the dry weather. Australia is Southern Hemisphere weather. And we all know that, because the Northern Hemisphere is, they play, we play, haven't played in the Northern Hemisphere for a number of years. 6 months of the year of your season, you're pretty much playing in boggy, wet, difficult conditions. So I know Eddie Jones came out and said, the humid conditions will suit us. It's. Well,
he would say that, wouldn't he?
Of course,
he's not going to say we're going to be.
No, of
suffering.
course he would. Of course he would. But the heat and the dry conditions will suit the Southern Hemisphere teams, not just New Zealand. Will suit all Southern Hemisphere.
Well, putting England to one side, you as an All Black have actually played against Ireland and played against Scotland.
Yeah.
Are they capable of winning the World Cup?
I think Scotland. You look at Scotland in the 2015 World Cup, came so close. Should have actually beaten Australia. And really should have beaten them in the quarterfinals, but I don't think they're quite there. But Ireland, 100%. I think they've got the team, they've got the players. As long as Conor Murray and Sexton stay.
Well, Sexton's a key player, isn't he? He's got to be kept fit throughout the competition.
Now, if you look at, we go back in history here. 2007, Dan Carter got an injury in the quarterfinal very early on. Affected the whole game. They lost quarterfinal to France. Richie McCaw got injured as well, but there was key players. We were so reliant on those two key players that 2011 we made sure that never happened again. My issue with Ireland at the moment is they're so reliant on two or three key players that if you lose them, they're a different team.
Well, on the Saturday we've got New Zealand against South Africa. How important is it for either of those sides to win that one?
It all depends which side of the draw you want to go on. I think the true rugby enthusiasts, particularly the Southern Hemisphere ones, they want to see New Zealand South Africa final, and they will potentially see it. Depending on who wins on Saturday, New Zealand, if they did win, they would face a Scottish team, and the second place loser would then face Ireland in the quarterfinals. Now, which side you'd want to be on for that. You'd fancy your chances more against Scotland than you would against Ireland, but you're playing the number one team in the quarterfinals. But to get to the final, you've got to beat good teams regardless. So it's a difficult one. I can't believe this is the first game, the first round. I would have thought they would have built up to this as they normally would have.
We haven't even mentioned the Japanese, of course, who are capable of surprising and are playing in front of a very enthusiastic audience.
Well, they've got Russia on Friday night as the opening ceremony game and the opening game. We all know what happened to South Africa. I don't like to mention this, but let's just go back to 2015. South Africa, Japan, first game of the competition, first game for them, and they lost to an inspiring Japanese side who played very, very well. So I'm on my talk on Saturday. I'll make sure I 100% mention that to the South African guys in the breakfast, just to bring them back, regressive it and remember the 4 years ago.